I go on mute. Oh, that's new.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's just started doing that. It started telling people they're being recorded.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
One sec. I'm just dropping. Start getting ready to start.
I don't have the video queued up, so somebody sing, something. There you go.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Mystic Moon Cafe Radio.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You have to get a screamer, like one of those nice, like Bride of Frankenstein screamers in the background.
Screamer thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Nice. Dogs, come on, let's get some good growling going. Can you growl?
Right?
You're not gonna growl?
Oh, come on. Got to get the puppies to growl.
Okay. Okay.
Got to train them up.
I'm about to hit live. Just
Okay.
a sec. Going on mute.
All right, Spreaker is live.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good evening. Welcome to another awesome episode of the Mystic Moon Cafe. And it's such an honor to be back on here tonight. And I appreciate Wendy letting me co-host tonight and interviewing Laura. And Laura is one of the main paranormal investigators at Bobby Mackey's Music World, which is, in my opinion, one of the most haunted places in the United States. And it's been such an incredible place to go to. I've been there 3 or 4 times now, and Laura's been nice enough to let us roam around in there for a couple hours and ghost hunt. And I'll go ahead and let everybody introduce themselves. You guys go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start. I am Sonia. I am a paranormal enthusiast and supporter. Too busy to be joining a team at the moment, but certainly pal around with many of them and hop in as a stalker, paranormal stalker now and again. It's probably going to be the word I use. Stalk many different teams, hang out in the background. That's me.
I'm Wendy, and I'm a lot like Sonia there, paranormal stalker and enthusiast, and actually a member of a couple of groups now, and maybe a cold spot or Kansas City shortly, and Mystic Moon Cafe.
Do you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. My name's Laura. I'm with Gatekeeper Paranormal. We've been the official paranormal team at Bobby Mackey's Music World for the last, this is going on our 8th year now. In July will be 8 years that we've been at Mackey's. So we've seen a lot in 8 years.
Wow. I'll bet you have. That's cool. All righty. Jake, are you going to introduce yourself, or are you just silent this evening?
I think he's hiding.
Jake is hiding.
Driving from the back. Yeah, driving from the back.
No, I forgot because I have like 4 things going that I'm monitoring, and I have to undo the mute on each one of them before I could speak. But hi, I'm Jake.
God.
I'm producing tonight. It's complicated. I'm telling you, I'm very happy to have Gatekeeper Paranormal here. I'm a ghost hunter. I'll shut up. Let's get back to the guests. Toodles.
Lovely.
All right. So, Laura, I know you said you've been investigating with Bobby Mackey's for 8 years. Have you been ghost hunting for more than 8 years, or when did you first start getting involved with the paranormal field?
Well, I mean, unofficially, probably like everybody else, when I was a teenager, we used to love sneaking into abandoned places. Everybody does that. We don't trespass. But we did it. And I think that's how I got started back in the 80s, aging myself a little bit. But yeah, so I've been interested in it even before that, when I was a little girl, because my grandmother's house was very much haunted. And I think that's what piqued my interest when I was little. But then I guess not really professionally, but more seriously, probably since the early 2000s that I've been doing this.
Marvelous.
Wow, that's amazing. Go ahead, Wendy. Did you have a question?
I said that was marvelous. Be interested to know what some of your more I lost my thought. I'm sorry.
I want to know, maybe it's the same thought, but I'm curious about some of your more exciting moments. I mean, if you've been doing this that long, I mean, it sounds like you go to some pretty awesome locations, and you know, Bobby Mackey's, of course, we'll want to hear about too, but I'm curious about some of the other ones. If you have some really cool stories.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've gone to a lot of places all over the world, really. We went to Romania twice, Angie and I did. We went in 2015 and we went in 2019. We went to Romania. We retraced Dracula's steps, Vlad Dracula's steps through Romania. I've been to England. I've been to the Hellfire Caves in England, Ancient Ram Inn. Gosh, I don't have a list in my head, but in England, Scotland, I've been to a lot of haunted places in Scotland. I love to travel and I love the paranormal, so I try to combine them as often as I can.
Sounds like a good plan. What are the Hellfire Caves?
Hellfire Caves, it's a little north of London in England.
Okay.
It's, I can't remember, it was on one of the shows, I can't remember which one. I think Ghost Adventures, I think they went there. I think that's how I heard about it, because that's why I watch those shows, is to find locations to go to. So I think it was on Ghost Adventures. I think that's how I found out about it.
But my question is, when you went there,
Yeah,
were you possessed?
of course not. I'm
Because
not.
apparently that's what happens when they go.
Well, that's
So I just thought of that.
happens
If
when
it
I
was
go to-
common.
Yeah. But no, I've never been possessed anywhere, and especially not at Mackey's. So
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good.
Yep.
That's really good. So, well, Laura, tell me a little bit about Gatekeeper Paranormal. So you guys have been an active group for about 8 years, roughly. What are some of the?
we were about a year before we started at Mackey's. We were together for about a year. And we were just doing some local places. Benton Farm here in Walton, Kentucky is an awesome location. We used to go there all the time. It's right down the road from where I live. And of course we did like Waverly Hills, Trans-Allegheny, Moundsville, all the places that are within, 3 or 4 hours of us.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I actually ran into a friend. Have you gotten to go down to Brushy Mountain State Prison yet?
Yeah, we were there about probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh my goodness. I hung out with Jamie last weekend. I think she knows you, Jamie.
Yeah.
She told me to tell you hello if I ever ran into you again. So
Because they came to Mackey's and they told us that they were working down at Brushy Mountain. And this was before, because I think they've done a lot of, I don't know, I guess remodeling or adding to the place. Aren't they having like concerts there or something?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
that
they've been
was-
booking a lot of country bands and all that stuff.
well, long before that, before they even started that, is when we went down there, and it was just myself and Angie and Jan, our other member, and it was just the 3 of us there, which was pretty cool. It was kind of quiet that night, so I don't have any stories from there, but it was still just so cool to just roam around. That prison is awesome.
Yeah, it's like a maze there, especially at night. Like I've stayed the night there, I think 3 times, and I'd say Brushy Mountain's such a fun place. There were some times we didn't capture too much, but it's such a fun place, and I love going back there. I think they've been doing little airsoft tournaments there. It's kind of funny. I'm just like, what in the world? Some of the teams have around the little Tennessee area out there. I'm sure you pretty much know all about country music. Have you gotten to meet Mr. Bobby Mackey or gotten to work with him a bunch?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him that often because we're only there when the club's closed. But yeah, I've seen him several times. Yeah.
Dang, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy, and we're so grateful that he lets us do what we do there, and offer these tours to people. It's awesome.
Dang, I haven't gotten to meet him yet, and that's been a goal of mine. Every time I come down there, I'm looking for him.
If you come like Friday or Saturday, he's there every weekend, and he's on stage every weekend. So,
Gosh, I gotta head down to Kentucky again. I love it down there. You know, at Bardstown, Kentucky, outside of, I think Bardstown's what, 2 hours from y'all?
yeah, about that. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite towns in America. It's
Yeah,
such
I
a
like it too.
charming, nice little place.
Little haunted place. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Jailers Inn down there is such a cool place. That's what we did when we came to see you guys to take the Bobby Mackey's
Oh yeah, I
tour.
remember you telling me that. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
Talbot Tavern, I like going there too. That's next door.
Oh, it's so cool. Like there's actually a tunnel, and I was talking to the owner about it underneath where the prison is to the tavern. And they say it's hidden and it's closed off, and they've never really had people go down there and explore it. And I'm just like, maybe we could all do that one day. We'll see. You know, that'd be kind of a cool little goal. I guess 2021, real 2021 New Year's resolutions, not 2020 resolutions. Those are, yeah, forget that. We'll scratch that year off. I'm gonna make it up for this year. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's too fun.
anyways, do you have any stories about Bobby Mackey's? I know every time I've been there, it's been a very cool place to ghost hunt. I've captured all kinds of stuff. I actually sent on the messenger an apparition that I captured, which we can go over here in a moment. But every time I've been there, we've always kind of walked out with an EVP or something. And I didn't know if you had any stories or not about some of the hauntings that your team has encountered.
Oh, I mean, I've got tons, but we only have so much time. So I think, oh gosh, the most recent thing that happened to me was a rock being thrown at me, which, you know, doesn't sound that exciting, but as you know, it is really exciting to have a rock thrown at you. But that was about probably 3 or 4 weeks ago in the basement. I had a group with me, and I was facing, so you know, when you walk in the well room, you walk through the door, and I always face the door because I don't want my back to that door. So I always face the door, and everybody was on either side of me. There was nobody in front of me. And from that doorway right at me was a rock. And it was cool. I mean, it came out of nowhere. There was nobody out there. And the funny thing is, one of the guys on the tour, when it hit the floor, he picks it up and puts it in his pocket and takes it home with him. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing to do. I haven't heard from him, so I guess he's okay, but he took it home with him.
Not like Charlie Brown getting a rock going trick-or-treating, huh?
Yeah.
I got a rock.
Yeah,
So I have an extra story to relate to you, and I have a video which I will share later in the link. I actually have a rock being thrown at me downstairs in the basement, right exactly where you were. And I have not shared this with you yet. And I will share this with you guys. And you can keep the video to share on your tours. And I have a lot of videos from Bobby Mackey, some pictures that you're free to share with whoever. But I have a video just like what you were saying. It was a little pebble that was thrown at me. When I opened the door downstairs, walking towards the well, there was a pebble that was tossed right at me. And the fact that you just told me that, I have a video from when Madison and I were there back in early 2020 of the same thing happening. That's incredible.
I don't know if you ever told me that because I don't remember it. And that's just amazing. I love when things like that come together, you know, that we both experience the same thing. I love that.
That's so, oh my gosh, you're giving me chills just talking about that. I was all excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Not many people get excited when rocks are thrown at them. A lot of people kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of asking your own sanity on that part. But, you know, I don't know if Sonia or Wendy or even Jake has had something like that happen to y'all. I'm sure you guys have been all around.
I've had stuff thrown at me, but not rocks. So I'm probably happy about that. Yeah, it's not, but not a lot. Not like that. It's usually something, you know, you hear it before you see it sometimes, because you'll hear something kind of hit behind you or beside you, and you're like, where did that come from? And it takes a minute to figure out there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but nothing on video, so that's pretty cool. And that it happens more than once. Those are the kind of things that excite me, is that now it's happened to more than one person, and you guys didn't know that ahead of time. You know what I
We
mean?
had
That's
no
the
idea.
kind of
I had
cool
no
stuff
idea.
that I enjoy. Yeah.
That is so
Yeah,
crazy. Oh
that's
my gosh.
awesome.
I'm gonna send you this video after tonight, and I'll post it in the link for people to view. But yeah, I have so much evidence from Bobby Mackey's. Every time I've been there, I've always walked out with an EVP or even a shadow figure on the second floor. I don't know if you had any encounters with shadow figures or anything like that.
That's almost, I don't want to say almost daily, but let's say almost weekly that we get those. And they're all over the place. I mean, they're on the main floor, they're in the basement, they're everywhere. Most of the time, I don't know, I think maybe there's more upstairs for some reason, because, you know, everybody talks about the basement and, oh, the basement's so creepy because of the well. But a lot of times people will go in the basement and they'll be down there for a while, and then they'll be like, can we go back upstairs because it was much creepier upstairs? And sometimes it really is creepier upstairs than in the basement.
Honestly, yeah. Like when I was in Carl's room, we had so much stuff happen to Madison. We had, well, so I've been there about 4 times. And the first time we had more activity upstairs. And second time, it was kind of like the center of the floor. It wasn't the upstairs, it was kind of the middle, I guess the ballroom area, the dancing area. We were having stuff happen. And it was one of the pool tables. It sounded like someone hit the rack of balls or whatever it was. And there was nothing on the table at all, which was kind of remarkable. And we actually have that on audio. And I was down there looking around to see if anyone was down there messing with us. And it's like every time I go to Bobby Mackey's, one of the floors just kind of picks you or something to kind of say, hey, we're here, we're hanging out, you know?
Yep.
You know, the basement, I do enjoy, because after having that rock thrown at me, kind of like validating your story with that, the well's kind of cool. I have a picture of me and my little brother standing on there because that's how we celebrate our family reunions in portals to hell like that. That's called Christmas at our house, I believe. So Christmas Day at our house, yes.
It's probably less scary than some families' Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, you can always leave your family Christmas.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the absolute truth. So Wendy and Sonia and even Jake, I don't think I ever asked you guys, have you guys had a chance to go to Bobby Mackey's yet?
No.
I have not been there.
No,
No.
I have not investigated anything east. Oh, take that back. I have investigated in Charleston, South Carolina, but I haven't investigated anywhere else in the South.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Bobby Mackey's is a must, and it's so close to, you know, Waverly Hills, and it's near the Jailers Inn, and I always do road trips going there. I stay the night at Jailers Inn, I go to Waverly Hills the first night, second night Bobby Mackey's, and you knock all 3 birds with 1 stone. It's such a cool location.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone watching or viewing tonight, that's what I recommend for haunted road trips. We started doing those a couple years ago, and going through Kentucky, hitting those 3 is a must.
And Mansfield too, in Ohio.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mansfield.
Because that's only a couple hours north of us. So you could hit Mansfield, Bobby Mackey's, and then Waverly and Barstow down in the south. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Spot on.
Very cool.
Starting to plan our summer.
Right?
Building a road trip. I feel like I'm, reading one of those inserts out of Sunset magazine where it gives you the 3-day tour, and all the food and all the stops there. But a little different.
Now, where was it in Kentucky that has the, I think it's a courthouse on top and then a paranormal museum on the lower level? Is that anywhere near Bobby Mackey's, or do you even know what I'm talking about?
I know there's a paranormal museum, and I don't know where Angie is. She must have had some computer trouble, but she's from the Somerset area down in southeast Kentucky, and I'm pretty sure there's some kind of paranormal museum down in that area. I've never been there, but
that was where it was.
Yeah.
But that looks like it would be fun to visit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So,
puppies have gas.
No, I had a quick question for you, Laura, and I don't remember if I ever asked you this or not. So I know Bobby Mackey's has been notorious over the years due to the entertainment business and everything like that. But I'm kind of going for facts here. So I do know Carl passed away a few years ago, the old caretaker.
Mhm.
And I have seen this interesting footage on YouTube of him having an actual possession and exorcism done.
Yeah.
Was that all pretty real? I never got to really look in too much to that, I should say.
Well, it's real in a sense that it happened. I mean, they really did perform an exorcism, and he really did feel like he was possessed by whatever evil spirits he felt were in the building. I mean, because that tortured him for years, that he felt like they were trying to take over his body. And it got to the point where he felt like he needed an exorcism. So that really did happen. It's on YouTube. You've probably seen clips of the video at least where, because it's kind of hard to watch. It's a couple hours long of them actually doing that exorcism. That was before my time, so I don't know. I've only seen what everybody else has seen on YouTube. And I always just tell people when they ask about it, it's like, if he felt like it helped him, then that's all that matters. You know, what we believe doesn't matter, because a lot of people don't believe in that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm not here to tell you that it's real or not real. It really happened. And like I said, if it helped him, then that's what matters.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, you know, not going to make this whole conversation about demonic possession, but I always say to people, hey, what you got to do with what's best for you, you know, whether it be, you know, anything in life, you know. So that's just a question I've always wanted to ask you about was Carl the old caretaker, because I never got to meet him, and I was there, I think it was 2009 was the first time I went up there, and there was another lady working there, and I believe she passed away, unfortunately.
Wanda, yeah, Wanda.
That
Yeah.
was her name. I'd spoken with her briefly before she passed, and I never had a chance to meet her. I don't know if you did or not either, Wanda K.
I met her once. Yeah,
Never met her either.
once. I met her one time.
Oh, just once. Oh, okay. I didn't get to meet her either, or ask her questions about Carl or anybody, because I know they both kind of passed away around that same time frame. It was I guess early to mid. I don't remember when it was. 2000 somewhere in there.
He died in 2012.
12.
And
Yeah.
I think she passed away in, I want to say 16, something like that, 15 or 16. So it was a couple of years after him. But he died of cirrhosis. He did not die in Mackey's. A lot of people ask that. They think he died on the property, but he did not. He had already moved out before he passed away. And then Wanda had cancer, and she passed away, like I said, I think in 15 or 16.
Yeah, I remember talking to her about that, and I was praying for her, and you know, but I felt pretty sad when she passed. But anyways, change the subject. So yeah, so your group has had rocks thrown at them in the basement. What would be I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, what would be some of the greatest evidence that you guys have personally captured there, like at Bobby Mackey's?
I sent a picture. I don't know if you guys are able to show this, but
Yep, we can. Which one do you want me to share, Laura? I've got.
what I sent, I think I sent one, a shadow figure.
Oh, standing next to you?
Yeah, well, that's not me, but yeah, that one.
Okay, 1 second. Let me prepare to share it. Keep talking, keep talking.
Okay. So this
Talk
picture
amongst yourself.
was taken in 2019, I think in September of 2019. It was one of our tours. There it is. I'm not used to seeing it so big. That's awesome. This is a lightened up version. So what this was one of our 2-hour tours. You can see it's in the daytime because you can see the light coming in around the garage door. The lady that's standing there, that you can see her face, she was one of 3 ladies on a tour, and her friend took this picture. And our other tour guide, I honestly don't remember if it was Angie or Jan, but they were standing right next to her when she took this picture, and they saw it immediately. And as you can see, the guy standing behind the lady, he's not there, but he's there in the picture. And this is one of the most amazing pictures I've ever seen. because it's, I mean, you know, every time you see a picture, you always think, oh, how did they fake that? Or maybe I'm just too much of a skeptic, but this one, I mean, I have no explanation for this, and it's pretty amazing. You can even see, if you look at the bottom between his legs, I mean, it looks like he's walking, like he's taking a step, and you can see a space between his legs. I just think it's an awesome picture.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like you don't see the light come through, like it blocks the light from the door.
Mhm.
So it's solid, but yet it's almost transparent at the top, but at the bottom you can actually see his legs, and he kind of looks like he's standing with his arms. You know how some older gentlemen would kind of put their arms behind their back low and just sort of grasp their hands when they walk? It sort of looks like that.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
pretty crazy.
That's one of the coolest captures that I think I've ever seen, especially at Mackey's.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
remarkable. I'm
Right.
mesmerized by it because I just like how the light, like what Sonia was saying, when you look at the legs down there near, like where I guess where his shins would be,
Mhm.
it's almost like the lights
Yeah.
are reflecting off of that. It's not
Off
really
of
going
pants
through it.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
off of like
Crazy.
jeans. It could have been a working class gentleman
Yeah.
from those times. Wow, that's amazing.
The only thing that
So
I
this-
think is weird about it is his head. It looks really
It's sort of
small.
transparent or gone.
Either
Yeah.
that, or it's
Weird.
transparent, or it's just looks like a little bean on the top of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It is, but
Maybe he was kind of small-minded. Maybe that's the problem.
But could be he's leaning away from the camera too,
He
so it's
could
going to
be
look a
leaning
little bit
or
small.
his head turned or something. Yeah.
yeah.
This is a really good picture.
It is. Any thoughts or ideas of who it could be?
Oh no, I have no
Okay.
idea. But not to bring up Ghost Adventures again, but I will. If you remember their very first episode where they caught that shadow figure walking across the basement. I don't know if you guys watch Ghost Adventures, but they caught a shadow walking
the
across
cowboy hat.
in the cowboy hat. Yeah. And
Yeah.
oddly enough, this is in the exact same location that they caught that. So take that as you will. But
That's really impressive. Like yeah, with Ghost Adventures, I don't discredit all their stuff. I think they do capture some pretty factual evidence, and this kind of validates their case. So you kind of help validate that there was a man down there in that same location. The fact that it's broad daylight too is pretty cool. And I believe that when the Ghost Adventures crew came there and they did that film on that episode years ago, that it was in broad daylight as well. I'll have to go back, and I haven't watched Ghost Adventures in a
remember
couple of
that,
years,
no.
but I think it was in broad daylight as well. So that's kind of wild. I mean, I know that they say hauntings happen 24/7 around the clock. So this kind of validates it. That's impressive. Oh my goodness. That's such a good photo.
I always get stuff in the daytime at Mackey's, and it's funny because when people will contact me for a tour and they're like, "Oh, I want to be there at 3:00 in the morning because that's when everything happens." No, it doesn't. No, the ghosts don't care what time it is. They probably don't even know what time it is. They're there 24/7. You don't have to be there at 3 a.m.
Goodness.
That's so wild.
Okay.
Yes,
you
it
want me
is.
to keep sharing, or you want me to? I can leave it up.
Done with this one. I don't know. There
Okay.
were some other pictures that I think Michael shared.
Yeah, go ahead and share one of my photos, Jake, because this is the last time that I was at Bobby Mackey's before the craziness happened
Okay,
around the world.
So the one that I'll bring up is the restaurant or the bar area. There's the big Coors Light sign.
Yeah, share one of those, because I think Madison picked one. She couldn't be here tonight, unfortunately.
Hold on.
Yeah. So this was a pretty wild picture. I wasn't really sure what I had captured at the time. But if you look kind of to like the far left, where one of the chairs is, we have this weird kind of anomaly. I don't know what you would call it. It's almost like a smudge or something. I don't know. It was very odd. And whether you call that an apparition or not, I wasn't too sure, but I was talking about country music and punk rock, believe it or not, because I grew up as a punk rocker, and I played in punk rock bands as a kid down in Tennessee. And I was sitting there playing, I was just, doing some goofy stuff, you know how I am. And I was playing some actual like punk rock music to see if I could get a reaction. And then I paused the video, and I have this on camera, and I will share this later on. And I said, do you like the punk rock? And we have an EVP saying no.
Oh,
And then this shows up. I'm dead serious. After we were just taking pictures, I was playing punk rock, just kind of antagonizing, not really bullying or anything, but just trying to test the waters, I guess, with some country. with the
Okay,
punk
well,
rock music.
I have to tell you something now, because I don't
Mhm.
think I've seen this picture before. So what we're looking at, so where that white booth is straight ahead of us, that's the DJ booth, and the dance floor is right in front of it. So
okay.
where your little blurry apparition is, that area right there. So this used to be Bobby Mackey's back in the 40s, used to be a mob-owned club, right, with a casino. I don't know if I gave you a whole history tour when you were there or not, but
No, I don't
back
think so. No.
back in the 40s, it used to be a mob-owned nightclub and casino, and it was called the Primrose Country Club. It opened in 1943. So right there, on the very far left, where your little blurry shadow is, that pole, that used to be the men's bathroom right there. Okay, and where the men's bathroom is now used to be an office. So in 1943, I think it was in September of 43, the Primrose had only been open for a few months. And two guys were in that men's bathroom there. They got in a fight. One guy got hit, he fell down, he hit his head on the radiator, and he died on the floor of the bathroom,
Oh,
right there where that hole is, where your little blurry guy is.
Wow. That's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like I never even took a history tour. Laura and I are connecting right now. Do you feel this? Like we're getting
Yeah.
rocks thrown around in the session.
Yep.
This is crazy. I had no idea so that used to be the bathroom.
That used
Someone
to
got
be the
murdered in
men's bathroom, yeah. And that's where, I mean, I always point that out. I'm sure I gave you a history tour. I must have, but I don't know. Maybe I didn't. But yeah, I always tell people that story, because right there, that's the first documented death that we know of that happened inside the club, was right there in the men's bathroom.
Now you got a picture to validate it now. So,
Yep.
I mean, hopefully this kind of helps. I'll send you the EVP that I captured around there. Maybe the guy was throwing up due to the punk rock music I was playing.
He might have been. And also, in the last probably year or so, we've always heard in that area, we've always heard like audible male voices. We always hear men talking right in that area. But in the last year or so, we've been hearing his name come through, either on people's recordings or through a spirit box. Did you catch any names on yours?
So we have an interesting thing on video. We didn't capture a name because we were asking questions about if there was anyone down there, if there was any mobsters still here. And we have an old jukebox playing from like the early 1900s. And I didn't see a jukebox down in that area.
No. People always ask.
And as soon as we're asking names, we were hearing this old timey music. And I was sitting there thinking, going, well, it wasn't a car outside. I was looking around. I walked over to the window. I was like, what in the world is that? But we were there we were one of the later tours later at night. I think it was like 11, maybe. It was somewhere in that time. But we started hearing the strange music box going off. And then that was kind of right after all this. But we never had a name. What name? I was just curious, what name did you guys capture on audio?
The guy that died, his name is Paul. And his name has come through, like I said, several times in the last year or so. But strangely enough, about a couple months ago, I guess, I was there. We were running a spirit box, and we always sit like right at that table right there next to that pole. And we had the spirit box running. And, I was asking questions and everything. And I said, can you tell me your name? And it said Bill. And I'm like, okay, well, that's weird. Bill, I don't know anyone named Bill. And I never really thought about it. So I have on my phone the newspaper article of that guy dying. And the guy that hit him and killed him, his name was William.
Oh boy.
So he's come through as well. But it's usually Paul. But that one time we got someone who said his name was Bill. So I think they're both still there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's giving me chills. Yeah, like I know when I was in there, I think it was the second or third time. My little brother's the middle name Nick is his name's William. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know if the spirits remembered me from going in there, and I don't know. I'll have to go in there and test the waters here soon. Um, wow, that's incredible. Wendy, did you or Jake have anything you wanted to add on to that photo?
I
Yes.
mean, you know, looks legit. I don't know much about Bobby Mackey's other than what I've seen on like Portals to Hell and Ghost Adventures. So, though that first Laura, the figure you sent, that's like a wowzer, I gotta tell you. But we do have another figure, Mike, from you, or Tom Jones, or whatever you want to go by.
Tom Jones.
And let me bring that one up since we're on the subject of
Oh, yes.
apparitions and all that stuff. It's another shadow figure, folks. Give me a second while I cue it up.
I think we lost Sonia.
Yeah, she had to scoot.
Oh, okay, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
So this
So-
is upstairs, and I guess it was Carl's old room. And we had and this was kind of an interesting photo that we captured, because if you look down on the floor, I was seeing the K2 meter go off. I had my phone on airplane mode. I don't know if you guys, for those watching, your cell phone can react. It'll make that thing go off, the K2 meter go off. So I always put my cell phone usually on airplane mode when I use it to take pictures, just so nothing interferes with the environment and, you know, the electromagnetic field. It's just kind of the way that I've always kind of done it, because I've always been afraid, well, if my phone goes off, or, you know, I don't want it to interrupt the investigation. But I was walking over here and we were asking questions about Carl. We were like, hey, Carl, you know, are you up here? You know, was this your home? You know, just simple questions. And as soon as we started talking about him, the meter was going off, and then I had that blur. Now, I'm not sure if that's dust, or I know it is a dusty place. It is pretty old. But the fact that we're getting that meter to go off like that due to whatever that light anomaly was just a very interesting photo. And then it didn't do it the rest of the time we were there. Have you seen anything like that, Laura?
Well, I mean, like you said, it is dusty. But if your meter was going off at the same time and it wasn't going off any other time, then that's got to make you wonder if it was dust or if it was, you know, something else, because it perfectly coincides to the meter going off.
Yeah, that's wild. Like I was telling a lot of folks that, you know, typically every time you hear Bobby Mackey, you instantly think of the basement, and
Mhm.
Johanna's well, head down the well, or something crazy like that. But like I've told a lot of folks, like upstairs in Carl's old room, it's a very active room, and every time I've been up there, we've always walked away with something.
Wow.
And this is another example. I could not really explain this. I didn't know if any of your team members have encountered anything like this upstairs or not.
Well, what's interesting about it is how wide it is. I mean, usually when there's like dust, you know, it's just like a thin streak, but that is wide. And I mean, it's a mirror. So that on the right is a mirror. So you're seeing a reflection of it. I don't know. I don't know I can't explain that one.
Yeah, I was puzzled as could be. I don't know if Jake, if you have anything to add on that.
Unmuting. You know, when I see, you know, I'm always worried about low light sources, right? Light reflections, because it's a mirror.
Mhm.
So, you know, if I'm going to be my hypercritical self, because Mike
Go
knows how
all out.
horrible
Go
I
all out.
am. I am, you know, I would say, you know, because I have my doubts. It's not like the other two shadow figures. Like I wouldn't put this one on ghostly activities. I would put the other two up.
Mhm.
But this one, I'm like, you know, I think it's possible with low light levels, the camera and stuff. I'd
Compensate.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's just it is an interesting photo for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. Saving up my money, going to college to buy better equipment. So
There you go.
this is called.
Look, you
I'm
need a
kinda-
care package, man.
I know, pretty much. You know, like
you need a hookup.
I need the
What-
hookup. So
Okay, Wendy's got first dibs, but
yes,
Wait a minute.
I'm the gadget guy on a ghost. If you didn't know. Laura.
something I've always told people though is you don't really need a lot of money ghost hunting. That's for sure. A lot of people think you have to buy the latest and greatest, whatever. I'm very simple and plain. For those listening in tonight, kind of know how I ghost hunt. I typically go for classic EVPs. And I don't discredit anything. I just go for EVPs, photos, and I'll use the K2 meter from time to time, but not often. Those are typically what I use, but I'm the Goodwill of ghost hunters. I go to Goodwill and find all my gear there. It's a good place.
But, I'm exactly the same way. I have my recorder. I do have a K2 and I have a spirit box that I use mainly on tours just because people like it and it's entertaining, to use on tours. And I mean, I'll be honest, I have captured some things on a spirit box that I can't explain. I mean, we all know it's a broken radio, but at the same time, I have caught things on it that, are could be anything. I don't know. But I always tell people, I think the best piece of equipment you can have is this right here. You are the best piece of equipment because you can sense when something is off or when something is going on. You get the chills and everything. That's better than any $100 gadget you could buy on,
Oh, 100%. I was telling someone recently, so I do help out with Shaker's Cigar Bar here in Milwaukee. I don't know if you've ever been up here or not, to Milwaukee to ghost hunt, which I humbly invite you. You guys get a free place to stay over here, so don't even worry about it. Y'all come up anytime. I was talking to someone on a ghost tour up here about spirits, and I just told them kind of like what you were saying. The best equipment you can use is really just yourself. And spirits, in my opinion, they'll show themselves to you, and I feel like it's kind of a personal connection. Excuse me. It's definitely a personal connection, and to some people, they're not going to want to communicate with because. I mean, I think just like people, they can kind of pick up your vibe pretty quickly going, well, this guy's a jerk. I don't want to talk to him. I'm not an animal. You know what I mean? It'd be like me going over into my neighbors over here going, hello, and just being ridiculous. I definitely feel like it's kind of a personal thing. Like spirits just kind of want to show themselves to you only if you're cool enough, I guess.
And I think the chances of capturing something, I mean, we had a couple cool photos that we just saw, but I mean, really the chances of you capturing something on film is, tiny. I mean, I know all the shows, but they're filming for days on end. You go into a place for a few hours to try to capture something, might not happen.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely.
And then everybody's going to doubt it anyway. Anybody's going to doubt it. You're going to show them a picture and they're going to be, oh, well, that's fake. You edited that, so nobody trusts anything that they see, nor should they really.
I know you kind of have to second guess on a lot of things. That's why, like, there's sometimes I take pictures and I'm hesitant to post it because how Facebook can deteriorate a lot of the image in the actual files. And that too, a lot of people tamper with it because they want instant gratification from a ghost hunt, where as many of us know, like Jake knows, Wendy knows, ghost hunting can be very, very boring, and you can't fall asleep on investigations. I'm guilty of it. And it's a lot like fishing. It really is. If you're a fisherman, like I can be sometimes, it takes a lot of patience. And spirits just want to show themselves to you. And just like catching a fish, you may catch a fish, you may not. But Bobby Mackey
at Waverly Hills.
What's that?
I fell asleep at Waverly.
You slept.
I fell asleep at Waverly.
Wow. Did you sleep in the morgue? Tell me you slept in the morgue. You just took a nap in there.
It was on the second floor in the cafeteria. They had these nice, comfy couches and chairs, And I'm just sitting there, it's like 2:30 in the morning. And I guess I dozed off and I woke up and everybody was gone. And I had to find everybody, roaming around by myself trying to find everybody else. But, it was a quiet night at Waverly.
That place is massively huge, right?
Yeah.
Waverly. Okay, yeah. Oh, I bet that was fun trying to find them then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Waverly Hills is about 5 stories, and I went there a couple years ago with Ross, who's not. I don't think Ross is here tonight. But it was huge. Easy to get lost in there. I got lost a couple times, stumbling down those stairs in the dark, and face planting a couple times in the what is that little body tunnel. I tried to skateboard down it, but yeah, I don't think the security would have let me do that. Skateboard, longboard down the body tunnel. I was like, that'd be kind of a cool little skit or something, but probably never going to happen.
That's epic fail. What is that? Fail army?
Oh, fail army for sure. I would have wiped out on that tunnel so hard. I think people would just laugh and watching me hurt myself. But
well, we would check to see if you were okay or not before we left.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of consider Waverly Hills to be like the Disney World of ghost hunters. It really is. It's a lot like Disney World, you know what I mean? But for like strange weirdos like myself. And they've got the gift shop. They got, I think when we were there, there's probably a couple hundred people.
Oh yeah.
And it's a big place. That's why it's like, yeah, people go to Disneyland or whatever, Disney World. I go to a sane asylum. It's the same thing. That's not how you look at it. But anyways, Wendy, did you have something to add that you wanted to talk about on those photos too?
No, they're amazing. The shadow ones, the little light anomaly. I don't have any real thoughts on it. I don't know enough to know exactly what to look for or see in it. So I'll just go along with what you all think and say. What I'm thinking is that we need to get June on here with her video of you almost tripping down the stairs at Waverly.
Oh yes. June booked it up those steps. She's flying up them. So ignore what she says. She's a champ at running up those stairs at Waverly. June Nixon, Laura, she's another investigator that I work with up in Seattle, who's not with us here tonight, unfortunately. But she's a really good. I think she's been to Bobby Mackey's a few times as well, and so is Ross. So they've both been there. If they're listening in, they can add something in the chat. But they both ghost hunted there a few times. Yeah, and I mean, Bobby Mackey's is such a great place. Like, I highly recommend people listening to go there. It's definitely my top 3 favorite places to go in the United States for capturing evidence. I mean, if you don't believe in ghosts, go to Bobby Mackey's, do the ghost tour, and yeah, you guys will have a blast. Anyways, Laura, tell me more about your paranormal team. So is it just you and a few other ladies, or is it?
There's 3 of us. It's me and Angie and Jan. Yep, there's just 3 of us.
Wow.
And, I mean, people always ask, if we do other places, and we don't. We just do Mackey's as far as doing tours. Now, like I said, personally, we travel around and go to other places, but as far as actually giving tours, it's just at Mackey's. But yeah, like I said, we like to travel. We've gone to Romania and we've gone to tons of places in the United States. So yeah, that's what we do. We used to do like residential, people's homes and businesses. We don't do that so much anymore. It's just not our thing, I guess. Some people like doing that. Some people, don't. We don't do it very often.
Yeah, residential hauntings, I'm always kind of a little bit nervous about. I just don't like going into people's houses, especially when you don't really know who they are, and everybody's got different stories. I've got a pretty scarring story, but did a ghost hunt somewhere. I'm not going to disclose it, but we got out of there pretty safely. I'm just going to leave it at that. So we were very fortunate to not have anything bad happen. But the person was had a background in something that really made one of my female investigators uncomfortable. So we got out of there, and I don't want to put anybody at risk. That's the thing about residential investigations that I've always been skeptical of, and I'm like, well, is it safe to go? Are these people okay? You know?
Especially us. I mean, just being three women, you just never know what you're
Right.
going to get into. And we had one, there was a guy, I hope he's not watching, he's probably not, but he used to, he said that when he would fall asleep, something would lift him out of his bed. So he wanted to go to sleep while we watched him. No. Sorry.
No, nope.
No,
I'd be like, I'm
not
sorry,
gonna do
buddy.
that.
No, there's
But
just
yeah,
some
well,
things. that just-
stuff like that, we don't do that. We just stick with the demons at Mackey's and we're good.
Oh,
There
yes.
you go.
We're safer.
Did you guys get a lot of investigation offers while the pandemic was going on?
You mean to come to Mackey's?
I'm sorry, to do residential like hauntings, because I got hit up quite a bit.
Not really. I mean, we used to get them a lot, and lately I don't know, maybe nobody's haunted anymore, but we just don't seem to get them very often anymore.
Well, I think due to the popularity, everyone's wanting to ghost hunt their own homes, and I've noticed that too with it.
Well, I
blowing
think
up the
for a
rate of life.
while it was all about, especially when there were like so many shows on TV, and a lot of times I used to think it was attention seeking in a way. You know, people wanted to be on TV. They wanted something to happen so that maybe you're going to get them, you know, on a television show. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a super competitive market. I mean, I know how ghost hunting's evolved since you've been doing it since like the 80s and 90s. You've probably seen it too. It's becoming kind of like bands back in the 70s. They're like, wow, you're in a band. Now it's like, and they were all excited. Now they're, oh, you're in a band. Okay, cool. Everybody else is kind of like, that's kind of how a lot of ghost hunting groups have become. They're like a lot of them are like rock bands now. It's just, you're just with the TV shows, I just tell people, well, you got a long line of people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sorry to anybody. I don't want to discourage you. Follow what you do, and if you want to get it on a TV show, fight for it. Absolutely, and I don't want anyone to give that up.
Go for it. Yeah.
So many YouTube channels now that are making these videos, and a lot of them are just as well done as a network show. You know, people that make some of these YouTube shows really know what they're doing, and they really produce a good video.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of those coming through too.
Well, I dropped your YouTube channel into the chat so if people can check it out, because you had some really good videos, well-produced videos as well.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to watching this for sure.
Yeah, we've got a couple on there of some EVPs that we've captured at Mackey's, and I think there's a couple from Waverly too. But the two we caught that I can think of off the top of my head at Mackey's are really good. There's one that's called Nobody But Us in Here. And that one actually, when you listen to it, you'll hear something different. I just never went back and re-edited the video because once I started playing it for people, they heard something else than what I thought I heard. So never mind. But it's just, if you listen to it, you're going to hear something else than what it says on the screen. And that's fine, because that's really, we think, what it says. But yeah, we got a couple good EVPs on there from Mackey's and from Waverly too.
Wow, I'm gonna definitely have to watch that for sure. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know you guys had a YouTube channel. What's the channel called? I know, Jake, you dropped it in the comments.
I think it's just Gatekeeper Paranormal.
Yeah, it's Gatekeeper.
I'll drop it again. It's buried in the chat now. We begin to let comments, so I'll drop it again. I'll put it into our chat.
Okay, wonderful. So it looks like we got June Nixon coming in.
Hey, June. Thanks for
Hey
joining.
guys,
How are you?
I'm great. Sorry I'm not on video. I'm a little bit of a mess.
Oh, okay. All good.
It's really hot in Seattle right now.
I heard
Wow.
that.
Now, when I say it's really hot in Seattle, I know Wendy's like, yeah, right, June.
It's only got to like 72 or 3 here today. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We switched weather. But no, we got to investigate Bobby Mackey's a couple of times. I was going to say the notable thing that happened, and it's one of those things where it's just my story now, because of course we were using the thermal imaging camera, and we weren't recording it with the video. So, which is a big no-no. We usually always record the video, just record a video, because the thermal imaging camera is just set up to do pictures, basically, the old one that we have.
Mhm.
And so, you know, I'm walking around with it, you know, kind of clicking pictures, when all of a sudden I get this kind of gray mass that looks like a person, and all when I aim the camera over there, it ducks and walks it looks like it was walking really fast away, and it was right by the stage. It was right by the stage. It was going from the stage to the bull, the yeah, mechanical bull. And it looked like something ducked and just kind of like trying to get out of the way really quick, and went that way and just disappeared. Now, you know, because I was like, okay, whoa, was that just a glitch? And of course, you know, I tried to click a couple pictures really fast, but all you get is like this little corner of gray with it. So that's like, yeah, so from now on, you know, of course, I've been kicking myself, but from now on, we're always going to use the video on that thermal imaging camera, because it's really, that's not the first time that's happened to me. You think I would learn, but I didn't. But that was like a really notable thing. And then we got one EVP, and I can't remember what I said, but it was by the mechanical bull. Oh, I said I'd like to try to get on that thing or something like that, and it was like, I'd like to see it or something like that. I'd like to see that too, or I'd like to see that. You know, it was just like, oh my God. And I've got to dig those up. I know I have them in one of my folders, but yeah, that was pretty good. But it was great. It was just really great experiences. And I can't wait to go back.
Neat.
That's incredible, Jen. Like, I don't know if you saw the picture I shared earlier.
No, I
There was
didn't get
an
to.
apparition.
Oh, I think you showed that a long time ago. I remember
Oh,
now.
did I? Okay, I didn't know if it was
think you
related
did.
or not to with you seeing that shadow of going near the stage. You said it was near going towards the bull ride thing.
Right.
I don't know if it was somewhere in that. That's interesting.
But yeah, it was yeah, it would just it looked like a person. It looked like a person's shape, and then it looked like somebody that when you aim the camera towards them, they don't want to be in the picture, that they duck and then like scamper off really fast, like don't take a picture of me.
Mhm.
And I just thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I was trying to think. I think we had something in the basement or the bottom happen, but this has been a few years ago.
That's incredible.
I'm trying to think. Ross would probably remember, but of course I don't.
Oh,
It's old age, Michael. It's old age.
Laura, did you capture anything kind of where she's talking about? I don't know if you had any stories around that area near the mechanical bull.
Well, in the bull room, I mean, that's where, because the bull is back by what we call the creepy corner, and we're always getting shadow figures back in the creepy corner. And I also had the experience of a pool ball. If I walk back there and there's any balls left out on the pool tables, because there's 3 pool tables back there, if there's any balls sitting out, I'll always take them and put them on a pocket, like right on the edge of one of the pockets on the pool table. And I've been doing that for years, and I always ask them to knock it in, and they never do. But a couple of years ago, I had done that. I had a ball sitting on one of the corner pockets, and I had a tour group. We were sitting out on the opposite side of the bull at one of the tables, and one of the girls thought she saw a shadow back there in that corner. So I said, let's you and I get up and walk over to the opposite corner so we don't, rush up on it and scare it away. So let's walk over to the other side and try to communicate. So she was asking questions, trying to get a response. And she said, could you knock that pool ball in for me? And it went in, it rolled down. I lost my mind. That was one of the coolest things I had ever experienced, because not only did it happen, but it happened on command.
Mhm.
And of course, I have no video of this. I have nothing to prove it other than my word and the people that were there, but it happened, and that was amazing. And I was a little upset though, because like I've been asking them to knock it in for years, and this chick comes one time. I guess she was, young and cute. I don't know, but they did it for her. It was amazing though.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah,
Yes,
well,
it
that's what I say. We add it to our personal stories.
So those are as good as the evidence sometimes.
I was gonna say, like, I know June, you and Ross, you guys have been there a few times, haven't you? I know Ross isn't here tonight.
Just a
I didn't
couple
see it.
times, and then we came one time. We got mixed up on the days and was thinking it was a different day or something. Anyway, we
Oh,
could have
That was
done
when
it
you
3
and I went
times.
there. That was when you and I went there with Mark and Eileen. We were gonna go there.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Because we did.
That's right. Yeah.
One of the days
But-
got screwed up and we
But
couldn't
hopefully
go.
when they come back, because we have some friends from Edinburgh, and they were planning this amazing, trip to do Waverly Hills, Bobby Mackey's, and all these different places. And it was like the day before they were supposed to leave for America. Mark had a heart attack.
oh,
And yeah, it was really scary. But they were just devastated because they had been saving and they couldn't wait to do all these paranormal places because they have their own paranormal group in Edinburgh. And yeah, they were so excited and everything. And so they vow that hopefully when they're hoping 2022 or 2023, when hopefully all this, because they've tried to come back again. Of course, they made plans to come back in 2020. It was, I think, March or June or something of 2020. And they were like, no. So they're not going to make any plans until, they know that it's a go for sure.
Well,
So we're
Mark
going to
and
do that
Eileen
again.
watching, we owe them a refund in June. We'll give them a refund. Mark and Eileen, if you're listening, we'll definitely be giving you guys a ride. I'll be down there for sure to help you all out. Get
Oh
around.
yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah, but yeah, that was one of their dreams to go to Bobby Mackey's.
heavy sigh, right?
Yeah, I know. It was really, really sad. But so we're going to try to do that whole thing again, all the different places that we were going to go to and stay in Bardstown. And yeah, I mean, just the whole gamut. Also get those, those nice little, was it whiskey chocolates?
Bourbon. Oh my goodness.
Bourbon balls. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes. Oh yeah. I was sharing stories with Laura about you and I running up and down those Waverly Hills steps. And
Yeah.
you're a champ at that. You're a professional runner.
Yeah, that's.
I was telling people you were handling those stairs like a champ. I was face planting.
Yeah, that'll be the day. Especially in the dark. That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, that place is pretty cool. But sadly when we went, there were like, and it was like on a weeknight, but I think there were like 75 other people. But it's a big enough place where they spread everybody out that, it's not as bad, especially when a lot of people start going home and leaving and things like that. It's really nice. But yeah, there's just too many people. But we're thinking about renting it out. And, because yeah, I think you can do that for like a group of 10 to rent out the place. So like
Best
we'd
birthday
like to
party
rent it.
bash ever.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Really awesome. But yeah, I really can't wait to go back to Bobby Mackey's. We really had some interest. We had a lot of interesting things happen and a lot of personal experiences, and I would really like to try to duplicate a lot of those. So
Cool. Now, Laura, I know you get a lot of different groups in there in Bobby Mackey's to, I guess you do the tours, is that correct? And okay. Any favorite ones?
Favorite?
People you like to work with that may have come in before?
Michael.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored.
We do. I mean, we do get a lot of repeats. People seem drawn to that place for some reason. You know, we have people that some of them come a couple times a year, every year. But we do, I mean, probably about 150 a year, because we're doing 2 or 3 a week. So we see a lot of people, but there are some people who come frequently, and that's always good, because then they, you know, they can just build on their experiences that they've had there. And for some reason, they're the people that get a lot of activity too. So maybe the spirits recognize them. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. They say, hey, you're back.
But then I think sometimes they get tired of me, you know, because I'm always there and I'm always asking them the same stupid questions all the time. And I always wonder if they get tired of that, you know. What's your name?
Think up some new questions and something, you know, outside of the box.
Yeah. So
Well, you know,
I try to ask them different things like, you know, I don't know, what's your favorite candy, or what's your favorite, you know, whatever. I don't know, other than just the typical, you know, what's your name, what year were you born kind of stuff.
that's good. Well, that's like Pete or Bea was talking about his well, he runs the Port Gamble Walker Ames house and all of the ghost tours and everything else there. And he said one time he was going into the house and he was asking some questions, and you got this really strong EVP that said, not again. So maybe Laura, you can
tell that story.
you can listen to those see if you got any EVPs like that, Laura.
Well, actually, one time I was at Mackey's and I went into the basement. I think I had to lock up and some people left the light on, which is always fun. I have to walk in there by myself to turn the light off. But when I walked through the door, I heard it in my right ear. As soon as I walked through the door, it's her again. And it was kind of a whisper, but it was very clear to me because it was right in my ear. It's her again. And, you know, I wasn't recording anything. I just heard it and I didn't even turn off the light. I just said, you know what, just leave the light on. And I shut the door. They didn't sound happy that I was back there. So I just left.
You know, what's one light bulb? It'll be all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
And now, what might have been one of your most scary experiences there?
Gosh, you know, it's weird. I don't really get scared when something happens. Now, that's not to say I'm never nervous when I'm there, especially like if I have to go in by myself to do something. But as far as something happening to me, it's more exhilarating than scary. So it's kind of hard for me to say that something scared me because, and I don't want to say that it's not scary because, you know, I mean, it is unexplained, but I don't know. I've never really had something happen where I've felt like, you know, running out the door because like I said, to me, it's exhilarating and you know, I want to hear it again or I want it to happen again. So yeah, I've never had anything really like scary happen.
Good. Perfect. A favorite experience then?
The rock being thrown at me was one of the favorites, the pool ball. And the other one that I like is the guy in the basement that we call the shuffler. And it was funny when she was mentioning something kind of hunching over and running away. Now that happened to her up on the, you know, on the main level, but in the basement, we have an entity that we call the shuffler. We named him the shuffler because in the basement is a concrete floor and it's full of, you know, little pebbles and it's really rough. And so he'll walk and you just hear this like his feet, like he doesn't pick up his feet and it shuffles like that. And I saw him one time. Now this one, yeah, maybe this was a little bit scary. I was in the well room and I had some people with me, but I looked through the window of the well room out into the main part of the basement and I heard that shuffling. I heard it coming, which is weird. that kind of Doppler effect where it moves, and I heard the sound coming from the left toward the window. And when it got to the window, I saw for a split second, I saw a shadow, and then it went down and it kept on shuffling right over to the right. It was the weirdest experience, but it was moving and I saw it move. And that freaked me out a little bit. But I immediately ran around to go see, because my first thought always when something happens is that it's an actual person that has come into the building. That's always my first thought, is like, oh God, somebody's come in. But no, that was weird. And I've heard that shuffling sound many times. That's the only time I've ever seen anything at the same time, but the shuffling, we hear that a lot in the basement. So that's another one of probably my favorite things to happen there.
Very cool.
I don't know if you remember this or not, Laura, but you and I were downstairs in the dressing room, I believe it was, and you and I both looked up and we heard the faucet sink being turned on by itself from upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something you and I went through together, because we were downstairs. I forgot what we were doing. We were asking questions, I guess, about one of the singers or something. And you and I both looked at each other, and I think my little brother was there with us at that time. And we were looking up going, wow, we were pointing up, and we were both hearing that sink turn on and off. Does that happen often there? Do you guys have plumbing issues, or I don't know if that happens often, or.
It's a common story. And in fact, that story's been around for years. I can remember being in college and people talking about Mackey's being haunted, and they're like, oh, if you go in the bathroom, the water, the faucets will turn on by themselves. And I remember hearing that story, 20 years ago. And it does happen. And I don't know why, because a lot of times you'll be in the basement and, the walls are kind of thin and the pipes for the basement or for the bathrooms are right on the ceiling of where you're at in the basement in the well room. And sometimes you'll be standing there and you'll hear that shh, like it's been turned on. I mean, well, you heard it, you hear the water and then you hear it run down the pipe and then it'll stop. I don't know. I don't know why the ghosts like turning on the water. I don't know. It's weird.
I was going to say that's crazy, because I'll never forget that time. I've never seen a phantom sink before. So that was also a first for me at Bobby Mackey's. I was like, good Lord, I bet Bobby's getting mad at that water bill going off.
Maybe it's just one of those things that they can do with their kinetic energy. Possibly.
Could be.
It's a thought. Jake, got any questions here for the ladies?
I mean, I'm just learning so much because I've never been there and you always hear about it. So I just want to play sponge and suck it all up just in case I ever get to go.
Definitely.
I will tell you, Jake, when June and I and Ross and everybody and Wendy and Laura, whoever, like, we always do these haunted road trips, and yeah, we'll be planning another one hopefully here. Yeah, now that things are opening back up, hopefully here soon, we'll head on back to Bobby Mackey's, and yeah, you'll be going.
I think we started that road trip in Chicago, didn't we? Didn't we start the road trip in Chicago and then drive down? Or did we fly? Maybe that, never mind.
It was Chicago, because I took y'all to Waffle House. That's right. y'all don't have Waffle House, and I was just like, we got to go to Waffle House.
Yeah.
And we drove south. I think, where did we drive to? Was it?
Oh man.
Because we stayed. We went all over the place. Oh my goodness! Like,
we stayed in the Hyatt at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
did
sorry.
somebody fly in there? It was like party central. It was crazy in that there was I think there was prom going on too, and a whole bunch of kids were had the room like across from us and beside us, and oh my God, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I remember sleeping on several floors during those few days.
Yeah, you slept on the floor because you were young.
I think I did. Oh yes. Like, now my back's starting to catch up with me. I'm just like, oh boy. So this is the 30s coming up, 40s, and so forth.
Oh no.
I know it's gonna get me here soon. I can already tell. I think I blame it on the army and that construction stuff I was doing, but that's another time.
I think the
But
worst place though that you had to sleep on the floor, and I don't know if you were able to sleep or not, is when we were at the Elvis in Memphis, or yeah,
oh
right by
Lord, I was
Elvis's house.
scared of everything down in Memphis. I don't know if y'all been down to Memphis or not, but yeah, it's
Uh,
those
well, we
COVID
were
glass,
right by
like
yeah,
the
we were
COVID,
right
the
by
COVID.
Elvis's house.
Oh yeah, that's a bad area. Like yeah, that's what I told people.
Well,
Like with the COVID-19 glass things, when you talk to people, I'm used to that because I've been to Memphis. Except for they were bulletproof. They weren't no plastic thing. They were bulletproof.
well, that's one of those things where I had rented a hotel and I didn't really know because I thought, well, it's by Elvis's house, it's got to be nice. That's like my thinking. So we get there. I can't remember what hotel it was, but we get there, and all of a sudden, like some of the screens are off, and everything else, like, and it's really run down. And we go in there, and there's bulletproof glass everywhere. And
Bullets in it, right?
yeah, there was some guy laying in the lobby on the ground and everything. And I went up to the guy at the counter, and I was like, I'm really sorry. I think I made a mistake. I really need to cancel my reservation. He's like, yeah, a lot of people say that. I was like, oh, thanks.
It
So
was
then we
just
stayed
practice
at
for the
that.
COVID dividers. That was it,
Yeah,
Jude. It was just practice. That's what I was
it
telling people.
was. Then we stayed at the really, really nice hotel. It was like only $50 more a night. We're at right by Elvis's home. But the bad part about it is a certain person can't sleep unless the television was on. And unfortunately, on that television, the only thing that they played were Elvis snippets all night, and the same ones over and over and over. So like little parts from his movies and songs, and it's the same ones, like for 30 minutes, and then they start doing it again and again every 30 minutes. And oh my God. So we were all like, I love Elvis. I just have a special place in my heart for Elvis. But after that, I was like,
Yeah.
I've never heard Blues Christmas the same way ever again.
yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
But yeah, you were
Mhm.
stuck on the floor.
Yeah, I slept out of my car. I think no, was that Ross? We stayed the night in Nashville somewhere. I don't think you were there. This is one of the first road trips we did. And Ross refused to come into the hotel, and I called it the Dead Body Motel because of all the bugs and
Oh
everything.
yeah, I heard that. Oh my
And he
God.
refused to come inside. So I was like, all right, Ross, have a great night out in Nashville. So we ended up canceling, getting out of there. He got so mad at me. And the pool was made out of grass because it was full of, I told Ross he could go lounge around in a little hot tub out there. He didn't want to do that. He got mad at me, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Anyways, Lord, that's kind of how we got caught up with Bobby Mackey's. It was doing a lot of haunted road trips, and we've been doing those with Advanced Ghost Hunters of Seattle, Tacoma. That's who June and Jake are.
Oh,
They go for.
okay. I remember that name from them coming to Mackey's. I do
Mhm.
remember that. Yep.
Yeah, we've had a couple other members. Dan, he's moved away now. He's in another state, but yeah, he used to go to Mackey's quite a bit. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, I can't wait to go back. I'm hankering for another haunted road trip. But we usually fly someplace and then we do the trip. So hopefully,
Yeah.
like I said,
No.
with Mark and Eileen, I think that it might be a definite go next year. So we'll hopefully plan all of their itinerary again.
Oh
with
yeah, it's like
with the bourbon balls.
yeah. I got a new car now, so it's better seating. So I had that 2-door Challenger for years, and I got a Subaru. I'm upgrading to this new generation of technology, I guess. So it's more comfortable. So we do haunted road trips, Laura, and you're more than welcome to ever join us on them when we ever do them. I'd be honored. I've been doing it with a couple people here and there. And yeah, I'd love to do a haunted road trip up here in Wisconsin. I know,
That'd be awesome.
yeah, I know June and I,
Yeah.
we were talking about this not long ago. And I know, Laura, you said you've never been to Wisconsin before, or
And
Yeah, I haven't either.
I still remember
Good.
you telling me last year, what was the place that's such a haunted, I think it's a bar?
Shaker Cigar Bar.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite haunted bars in America, without a doubt. Bob's such a great host. I hung out with him last weekend, and I took my parents on their very first ghost tour. They've never done one before, so they're kind of freaked out. And yeah, it's got stories. It's ties with Jeffrey Dahmer walking in that bar and following people down the street there. And it was built on top of a cemetery, and it was a brothel. And Ross and I went there years ago, and I've never been that scared in my life. In that place, I don't think I've ever felt that scared before about any building. That was that's why I'm love for y'all to come up. Wisconsin's known for three things: beer, cheese, and we have our dark serial killers up here for some odd reason. We got Ed Gein up the road. He's about an hour from here. And a half
Cannibals.
Cannibals.
The killers eat. The killers eat their victims in Wisconsin because meat's meat. Man's got to eat.
That's right. That's Motel Hell. That's a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters.
Oh, God.
You gotta be careful on Jake. He's from Wisconsin.
That's right. I am originally from Wisco.
I
but
heard an interesting thing on the news that, was one of those satire news ones, but apparently somewhere in Wisconsin today, there was a high-speed chase, some guy, trying to evade the cops, and they were talking about how people, it's not always just the drivers in the high-speed chase itself, but other people could get hurt too, and the only way, and apparently this guy was out in the country as well, and he turned off to try to evade the cops there, turned off into a field, and a herd of cows ended up stopping him. Any truth to that story? Yeah.
It's actually pretty common. You can move your cows along the country road. Like, you don't do it on the interstate, but you can move your livestock right down the country highways. But if you're the driver and you hit a cow, the driver is usually at fault, not the farmer with the cow.
Apparently he didn't want to hurt a cow, so he stopped.
Okay, so that's good. That's good. We don't want to hurt the cows.
That's right.
They give me ice cream. That's important.
I know. That is important. Cows are actually the deadliest animal. The top 5 deadliest animals on planet Earth is cows, believe it or not. Absolute fact.
Stampede or
Why?
yeah.
Just because people hit them?
Because, well, they walk off into the road, they get out, and
Oh, I
they
see. I
cause
see.
collisions.
Mhm.
And that's the absolute truth in Wisconsin. A lot of folks will tell you that up here, because I live in Oshkosh. Ashcash is what we call it in Tennessee. Up here, it's Oshkosh. Because I'm Southern, it's a bad joke. Anyways, I couldn't say the name of this town forever. And so I live about an hour south of Plainsfield, Wisconsin. So I have driven up there quite a few times to go to the Ed Gein, which I'm sure you know who Ed Gein is, Laura, don't you? He's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho is based off of. I had permission, and I always get permission. I think everybody knows this. It's too expensive to break the law. I can't afford it, and I don't think anyone can anymore. So I had permission
everywhere. Mhm.
Oh, right. It's but the folks there, they were nice enough to let me go on to Ed Gein's old property, and I got to see where his farmhouse once was. It's obviously gone now, and really cool stuff. I mean, it was just mind blowing. I was so surprised that Ed Gein's his grave marker was stolen and his body's still buried there, but he's buried next to all his victims, which was kind of it freaked me out. Yeah, he's buried next to Mrs. Borden and his other victim. And the kind of karmatic thing about this is people have been actually digging, and I don't know why people are doing this. It kind of makes me mad because I just say leave the dead alone, don't mess with them. They've been digging up Ed Gein's grave dirt and selling it online in a Vital for $20. And when you go there, you'll actually see people digging up Ed Gein's grave, and they're putting dirt in vials and selling it online on eBay. I've seen it, and the community's kind of mad about it. They're like, dude, just leave him alone, man. It was so
Yeah.
long ago. But people have been doing that now. It's kind of sad, you know. So yeah, I go up there and I'll visit up there every now and then. But change the subject. It's a beautiful area. I do love Plainsfield, Wisconsin. Has been really good to me. Jake, your people have been really good to me up here.
And they're feeding you good, I'm sure.
Oh yes, it's cold. I'm wearing a jacket. It's June, man. I'm freezing.
Goodness.
But I'd love to get Laura and her team to come up here. You all are more than welcome. And absolutely, my fiance Madison, she's a ghost hunter. So, you know, more girl power for y'all. You know, go out there and run around, go ghost hunting.
Yeah, I tell everyone, you know, you got Shakers in Milwaukee, but the Feaster Hotel, Fister, depends on how you want to call it. That's a super haunted location downtown Milwaukee. Might want to check out.
I haven't been there yet. I don't know. Have you stayed the night there, Jake?
Yeah, and they got really nice lobby bars to go hang out, you know, have a cocktail, do your ghost hunt. They got two bars. You got the main lobby and you got the rooftop one. Not that I've always gone there for drinking, people, but it happens. But that's something to check out. The Feaster, Fister, however they want to call it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how they call it. I don't know. I'm
Pfister. Feaster. Let's say Feaster over Fister. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I've wanted. I'm going to go there probably this year since everything's kind of opening back up. One thing I will warn everybody listening to this, because I know everyone's thinking about this stuff. If you decide to go to Jeffrey Dahmer's old apartment, it is torn down. I have been there. But please go with somebody and do not go there alone. It's in a very rough part of Milwaukee. And I went there about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I had a swarm of people surround my car. I drove out of there. I didn't stick around long. So if you do go there, go in the daylight and go with somebody. I just want to advise everybody listening, if they come up to Milwaukee, do the Dahmer tour. It's a really great tour. It's definitely it's pretty graphic because they do take you to the locations that Dahmer did his crimes, and they show you around Milwaukee on that street. And it's run by Bob at Shaker's Cigar Bar, which he does an amazing job with those tours. But they don't walk over there to that apartment for a reason. It is in a rougher part of town. So if you do go there, make sure the sun's out. Make sure with like 3 people, you should be all right.
2 of which are armed and, you know, armed and trained. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, one or the other. Like
Yeah.
it's, I wouldn't be going around messing around there past 8 p.m. I'd be kind of starting to head back to the hotel or wherever you're staying, But
isn't that the
anyway.
land of the Cunninghams? You know, Richie and the Fawns and everybody. And
Happy days. Joni loves
Yeah.
Happy days.
Chachi.
That's right. It is. It is. That's right. It is Happy Days.
And that 70s show. Thank you very much.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
No. And I hadn't watched that in a while. It's been a couple of years since I've seen that. I remember when it was on the FX channel. They don't even have cable anymore. They got rid of all that. Now it's all
Uh-oh.
this app. I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Cable television is gone. What the heck?
All about the money.
Anyways, did you guys want to ask more questions for Miss Laura and her team at Bobby Mackey's?
What might be on your bucket list? Where would you like to go that you haven't yet?
Oh, wow. I've always wanted to go to Villisca. I've never been there. I get a little weirded out when like murder sites because I've been to Lizzie Borden's house. I've been to Fox Hollow Farm in Indiana. I don't know if you guys know about that place. It's kind of a Jeffrey Dahmer-ish serial killer where he would bring these young boys back to his house, and there was an indoor pool inside the house, and he would kill them in the pool and then bury them out on the property.
Yeah, Herb Baumeister, buddy. Yeah,
Baumeister, yeah.
he's famous in the Midwest. Yeah.
So anyway, so I get a little creep. Those two places kind of creep me out a little bit, just thinking about what happened there. So
Mhm.
Villisca, I know it'll creep me out, but that's someplace I've always wanted to go.
Well, that's where Wendy did her very, very first ghost hunt ever.
Yeah, yeah.
It's right there
Me and the
at
Children of the
Villisca.
Corn. Yeah.
I live 4 hours from Villisca, I believe it's 4 hours, 3 hours. So I'm very close. So if y'all
It's
ever want to do
awesome.
on the road trip, we could definitely hit that place up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's what's kept me from there. Is I think from where I live, it's about probably 10 hours maybe to
Mhm.
drive. It's kind
Yeah.
of far. But yeah, I would love to go there someday.
It'd be just almost halfway between Mike and I. Excuse me, Tom Jones and I.
Yes, Tom Jones. It might be James
Mhm.
Dean next week. It could be anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Or
So-
maybe McNamerson.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, Laura, do you know if you've gotten any EVPs or anything from Carl, or do you feel like he's still around? I was just curious about that.
I think he is. I personally have never heard an EVP of my own, but I've had other people who have captured EVPs where the voice sounds just like him. But there's an area of the bar that's actually near where you caught your little blurry guy
Mhm.
bathroom. That end of the bar is where Carl used to hang out. And Denise, Bobby's wife, she says that a lot of times she'll be sitting at the bar when the bar's open, and she'll just glance up and look that way, and she'll see him standing there.
Oh
And
wow.
so she just feels like he's still there. And my story about that is one time I was there when the bar was open. We were helping out, I think, with the weekend ghost tours because they needed some help. And I was at that end of the bar because nobody really stands there. Sometimes the waitresses will come up there to get drink orders, but the rest of the bar was just packed. So I was standing at that end trying to get the bartender's attention to get something to drink. And I felt somebody tap me on the shoulder. And I looked back and there was nobody within arm's reach of me that could have done that. And I think it was Carl. He was either saying hello or get out of my spot. I don't know. But somebody definitely tapped me on the shoulder. And I think it was him.
Neat.
So yeah, I think he's still there for sure.
I'm sorry, I had a question, but it went poof when I was listening to you. Oh, old age. Me and June, old age.
Yeah, I guess we can say that since we're the same age.
Exactly.
What y'all are 20, 27?
Oh
28?
yes, that's
Mhm.
right.
You're 20. Happy birthday today. It's 28th birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
10-year high school reunion's coming up.
What are you gonna wear, June?
I don't know. Might tap at a prom dress. I don't know. Oh.
Ooh.
That
No,
is
it's
absolutely amazing.
It's
though,
kind
what
of fun.
you
I actually joined this group called Generation X, and it's really fun. Lots of we post lots of good memories all the time about different things. So it's really been a trip down memory lane, and it's just like, yeah. Yep. You're old when you make these jokes about, certain pop culture things when, I was young and nobody gets it and they just look at you like you're weird. And I'm like, oh, nobody gets it anymore. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
we gotta stick with our own generation.
yeah, I tell you, you're just here crickets. It's like, thanks a lot.
Mhm. Is this thing on?
Yeah, that was funny, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. What? You're funny too. Yeah. Go for it.
Oh, made my dog go, what? Who's that? Oh my gosh. Honest. Stop.
I was going to add though that is absolutely incredible that Yeah, you actually got touched on the shoulder by Carl and stuff like that, right in that same area that June was talking about. You know, I'm just trying to think of some different experiments to try there because I never got to meet Carl. Unfortunately, he passed away. I think I was still in the military at the time. Do you know if he has any relatives that still come around Bobby Mackey's? That was a question I was going to ask you. I didn't know if any of his family comes by
That I
there.
don't know. Probably, and they would probably be there, you know, when the bar's open. And like I said, we're never there when the bar's open, because we do all our tours when the bar's closed. So the two worlds don't often collide. So I don't know if anybody still comes there from his family.
Just didn't know if one of his family members ever wanted to go in there and ghost hunt it with you guys to see if, you know, it could even be a relative that maybe not have even met him. Like, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes ancestors can kind of send messages to, you know, family members. So I've always wanted to, I guess, kind of ask that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Carl had many family members there or not. I did a little bit of research on him, but I don't really know too much about him's personal life too much. He just kind of kept to himself, you know.
Yeah, and I know that I guess on one of the ghost shows, it's like one of those things where you just don't know what to believe. But I know that they had said that Bobby Mackey's wife didn't want to ever go in there. But it sounds like now she's kind of getting over that.
That was his first wife that they're talking about.
Oh, it was an old show. Yeah, I was watching.
That was his first wife, Janet.
Oh, okay, that's right. I
She
remember her
was
name.
friends
Was
with Carl, and she and Carl shared a lot of the same experiences
right. I remember.
that they both experienced there. So I think after a while, it got too much for her, especially when it was affecting Carl so badly, where he felt like he needed that exorcism. She just finally said, no, you know, I don't want to go back in there anymore. But no, Bobby's current wife, Denise, she's there all the time.
Okay. Does she kind of manage things? Like kind of
Yeah,
helps manage things? That's
she's the
awesome.
bar manager. Yeah.
Very cool. Wow. Now, has she had a lot of experiences, or does she even talk about it, or just?
Oh, she does. Yeah.
Oh,
She's had, like I said, she sees Carl a lot.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
She used to see, I don't know if she's seen him in a while, but she used to call him Scary Harry, or yes, Scary Harry. She said it was this tall, she said it looked like he was 7 feet tall.
Ooh.
And he had big hair, almost like maybe like a big afro in it. But every time she would say that, I would think of Hagrid from Harry Potter.
Right.
That's what I would imagine, like with all that hair, and real tall like that. And she would see him walking around like where the bull is back in that room. And she said it was a terrible feeling when she would see him. Everything would get really heavy and dark, and she just felt like whatever
wow.
he was not good. So she did not like Scary Harry. But yeah, she's had a lot of experiences in there, and she doesn't like to go in there by herself. And if she ever has to go in by herself, she said she'll take her phone and call Bobby or call somebody and keep them on there while she goes
While
in.
she's in there. That's smart. That's really smart. Make you feel a little more connected, like you're not.
Yeah.
Well, almost sounds like that could be like maybe a transient or something, or you know, the railroad tracks, or I don't know. But 7 feet tall, that's a whole other story. Be like, oh,
Definitely.
that would be a little scary, I think. I mean, Hagrid looks great in Harry Potter, and he's lovable. I want to hug him, but you know, if I saw him in that setting, you know, 7 feet tall,
Shadowy setting.
yeah, it's a whole other story.
When you mentioned transient, I think because I think somebody asked earlier about, you know, like a name, or if it's the same entities over and over. And I think a lot of times, especially there, for some reason, I think they are transient. I think they just pass through constantly. I mean, that could be true for any place, really. I don't necessarily think that someone has to die in a location or be somehow connected to it.
I agree.
I think a lot of times, and especially at Mackey's, for some reason, I feel like they pass through a lot. If you're going to believe there's a portal there, which isn't necessarily the well, because I've had people tell me it's in another location in the building. If that's true, then, you know, they could be coming from anywhere and just kind of, you know, a way station. They just kind of pass through and move on. And you mentioned the railroad tracks that are right behind the building. You know, I don't know, maybe they hop trains. I don't know, but you know,
I mean, the river, you know, river carrying down. What do they say? I have to pay 2 pennies to pass the river, or it's one of those old stories, mythical stories.
The River
River
Styx.
Styx, thank you. That was it. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah, I think it's 2 gold coins or something like that.
Could be that. You never know, because
Mhm.
Bobby Mackey's is on a river. It's
Yeah.
right there on that river.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Maybe-
You know, we've talked about that before. You know, spirits jumping on trains. You never know. I mean, you know.
Mhm.
Hey.
Now, I do have to ask you. No, the Johanna story. I've heard it so many times, and I'm sure you've heard it a billion times. What's the factual story behind that? I just didn't know if our viewers wanted to hear.
I've never heard about it. I'd love to hear.
So Johanna supposedly was a singer in the nightclub back when it was a mob-owned club. Like I said, it started in 1943. It was the Primrose Country Club. And then a few years later, it switched hands and they changed it to the Latin Quarter. So according to the legend, Johanna was a singer in the club and her father owned the club. Johanna became pregnant. Her father didn't approve, so he had her boyfriend killed. And then Johanna was so upset that she poisoned her father and committed suicide. That's the story of Johanna. And Bobby has a song called Johanna, which is a great song. And this all originated with Carl. That's Carl's story. That's kind of Carl's claim to fame story, is Johanna, because he said he used to see the apparition of a woman and she told him to go down in the basement and dig and tear up the floor, which is what he did, and he uncovered that well that's in the basement. And he claimed he found a diary down there, and that the diary told that story of Johanna and being pregnant and all that.
Oh, wow.
Well, the problem is, so back then when he was telling this story, which would have been like the late 80s, early 90s, you know, back then we didn't have the internet access at our fingertips that we have now. So if somebody told you a story, you know, you had to believe it, or you had to actually physically go somewhere and do a bunch of research. Well, in the last decade, now that we have all these records at our fingertips, people have researched it a lot and have not found any evidence that she was a real person. So to answer your question, yeah, we don't think she existed. It's just kind of a legend. It's a story that's been passed down for years and years. And also, if you know anything about organized crime and the mob, if a man owns a nightclub, a mob nightclub casino, he's not going to let his own daughter be a showgirl in his club.
No.
No way.
Mm-mm.
But that, you know, that part of the story there, just, you know, it just doesn't make sense. The only thing I will say about all that, even if Johanna is not real, that story is not true. Why did Carl tear up the floor in the basement? Something told him
That's
to
a
do
good
that.
point.
For whatever reason, even
Very.
if there was no diary, if there was no truth to that part of the story, something compelled him to go down there and rip up that floor for some reason. So that's the only thing that I would say is still in the paranormal realm as far as that story goes, is why did he do that? There had to be a reason.
Because where he dug it up was the well, and that's how he found the well.
Right.
And that's why, like, he wouldn't just go around. I could go around digging my floor right now. I'd have no idea where a well would be. You know what I mean? So that's strange. That's absolutely
It's very
strange.
strange.
That is.
Something made him do that, and there had to be a reason, you know, why. So we'll never know, I guess.
Now, who was Carl? I'm sorry, I don't know much about the
He
history there.
was the caretaker at Bobby Mackey. So when Bobby purchased the building in 1978, before that, like in the early to mid 70s, it was a like a biker bar. It was just kind of a rough kind of roadhouse type place. And Carl used to work there. So when that biker bar shut down And then Bobby purchased the building. Carl came and said, hey, you know, I used to work here. If you need some help cleaning the place up, getting ready to open it, you know, I can help you out. So Bobby hired him. And, you know, he worked there. They became friends. And eventually Carl moved in and became like a live-in caretaker of the building. And he actually lived there for about 13 years.
Oh, neat.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, you know, yeah, lived there for that many years, and that Bobby Mackey's isn't as big as what a lot of people think. And I guess they say everything looks bigger on television. Wow, lived there for 13 years. I didn't realize he lived there that long. I knew he was there for a little bit, but
Yeah.
Now, what
walking
year,
up and down those stairs. Ooh.
what year did he pass away?
2012.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It wasn't that long ago.
Mm-mm. But he had moved out. He didn't die there. A lot of people think that. He had moved out a few years before he passed away. He was living with family when he passed.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine living at Bobby Mackey's for 13 years. Heck, I couldn't imagine even living there for a weekend, man. That place is, I mean, we can get away at this crazy, I don't even know what, Bobby Mackey's is kind of made out of like, it's an interesting building because it's kind of like a bunch of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a weird building. It's made with like connexes, or I don't even know. It's just, it's a strange building. I don't know how it would do well in storms, and living there all the time, I'd probably go
If you
crazy.
think about, I don't know if you remember, but so the room that the well is in, that's actually an old house. Remember the outside, you can still see like the wood siding. And then everything else is just built around that house. So that house is kind of sitting in the middle of the basement, basically.
It's the center of the everything.
So you can still see the siding, the exterior siding of that house, and then everything else has been built around it. It's a really weird, the way it was constructed is really weird. And why they did that, I have no idea. I'm glad they did, because there's a lot of history preserved building it that way. But it's still odd that they just built around that house rather than tearing it down. So
Yeah, definitely. I want to keep that building up forever. I was always worried about Bobby Mackey's falling apart or anything, but I'm just glad they're taking care of it. You know, I'd be so, oh my gosh, I think everybody'd be devastated if that place went down or a storm knocked it down or something. I was always concerned about that because it's a building built inside of another building. It's weird. So that's what it is right there.
Across the street, you know, there's a big hill, and a couple times we've had a big landslide. And I think 2 years ago, the hill came down during a rainstorm, and I mean, it was literally like, I don't know, 4 feet from the front door. If it had gone any further, I mean, it might have taken the whole place down into the river.
Yeah.
So yeah, every time it rains, I get nervous, because I had a tour, and I was actually in my car when that happened, and I was sitting in the car, and I heard all this cracking sound, and I'm like, what in the world is that? And it was trees cracking as the hill's coming.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, so do I stay in my car? Do I get out of my car and run? I stayed in the car, and it stopped. I mean, it stopped just a few feet from where I was.
Oh my gosh.
The road was closed for months because literally the whole hill came down.
I remember that when that happened. That's why I was concerned about Bobby Mackey's when that was going on, because I was like, I don't know how much that building could take, because it's been there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And that's why I've always been concerned about that place, you know. There's a couple haunted places. Like I know you mentioned the ancient Raymond earlier. Like I know that place hasn't been, I don't know if that's going to be around in the next 100 years. Let's just say that, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be a miracle if it was up for another 100 years, you know. Because that place is ancient as can be too, and it's in the name. So
yeah. Yeah, the name is definitely true. It is ancient.
Wasn't it 13th or 14th century?
Yeah,
Or
something like that. Yeah,
yeah, okay.
it's old.
Yeah, it's had a good
dad
run.
joke. That's a dad joke right there. I'm pretty bad. Madison's been getting mad at me for doing that lately. Dad jokes are the worst. You know.
That's okay. We're older and understand, right, June?
Oh yeah.
Well, you're all right. Yeah, what's really cool is Ross got to investigate the ancient Ram's Inn.
So neat.
Yeah,
He did, didn't he?
yeah, about 10 years ago, I think they did. So I didn't though.
Aww.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to go back there. I mean, not back there. I would like to go there and make Ross go back there.
Well, yeah.
The Ancient Ram, that's on my list next. I got to get a passport. It's weird. I've only left the country once, and that was to Afghanistan. That was it. That's the only time I left America. And that's not really.
That's not fun travel.
No,
That wasn't a fun travel experience.
No.
We'll just leave it at that. I hated every second.
Right,
I was
there
like,
we
man, I'm
go.
never leaving America again. It sucks outside of the border. Well, you know, Afghan people are amazing. I have a lot of friends that are Afghan civilians that I care very much about. So, I mean, they were good folks to me. They thought I was crazy and goofy because they've met all kinds of Americans coming over there and people from all over the world over there. What am I saying? NATO. But anyways, yeah, well, Laura, we really absolutely appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yes,
I'm
thank
really-
you so much.
Yeah, I didn't know if anyone had any questions y'all wanted to ask her.
I hadn't seen any in the chat. I'm sure Jake would have alerted us if something has slipped past me.
well, when do you usually give your tours? What nights are the usual nights when you get back and running and everything again?
Well, we've been running for a year now. I mean, we started back last May. As soon as they said we could do them, we did them. So, but we do them Sunday through Thursday because the bar's still open on Friday and Saturday. So yeah, we do Sunday through Thursday year round.
Yeah, that'd be a really late night to wait till the bar closed.
Yeah. I don't want to be out that late.
No, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else, I don't believe, because you answered it. I had a question as to when the mafia stopped managing it, and I guess when it became, what was that?
Well, I mean, they might still. I don't know, but
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, they were the mob was really heavily controlled most of this area back in the 40s and 50s, and like I said, they probably still do. So I don't think they've ever gone away.
Probably not, but yeah.
They wouldn't tell you if it went away anyway.
Oh,
That's the mom. So
Maybe you don't win. Maybe we don't even really want to know.
Yes, don't ask, don't tell.
Exactly. Was the building anything at all before it was what was the Primrose?
the house I was talking about that's in the basement. So back in the 1800s, it was a distillery. In 1876, it was called the Old 76 Distillery. That's the first building that was constructed on the property, was the distillery. So the distillery was there from 1876 up until Prohibition. Once Prohibition hit, of course, the distillery shut down. They tore everything down. And then a guy named John Pop built that small house, the one that's still standing there, probably sometime in the 1920s. He built that. And then everything else, like I said, was added on to that in the 30s and 40s when it became the mob-owned casino and club. So yeah, there's been a building there since the late 1800s, but never a slaughterhouse. So
that was a lie too.
Bust that bubble.
What about Pearl? That Pearl, what's her name? Her head going down the well, or yeah.
I mean, she was a real person. She really was killed, but the myth is that they killed her and brought her head to the slaughterhouse and threw it down the well after they did some kind of satanic ritual. She was killed in 1896. The distillery was there since for 20 years at that point. So nobody knows what happened to her head. That's still a mystery. But she was real. She was murdered. She just wasn't disposed of it at Mackey's.
Okay.
I'll tell you some of the stories you hear out there. It's hard to tell what to believe and what not to believe, and this is why I encourage people to kind of do their own research on a building, and you can find the factual evidence, through the history and through the town.
Well,
Travel Channel's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I love the Travel Channel and all those shows. They're fun, but yeah, you got to be careful what you watch out there.
Yeah.
I just really commend you, Laura, for saying those things, because a lot of times the tour guides will just run with the myths and everything like this, especially places like Myrtle's Plantation and other places like that. They will run with the myths that can't be verified, but since they were on all the ghost shows and everything like this, and the stories were told, they just keep running with it. So I really commend you for telling people, it's like, oh, this is the way it is. It's like, but it is haunted, but it's probably not haunted by those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Wanted to tell the truth, and a lot of people don't want to hear the truth because they
Mhm.
want to hear these same stories that they've been hearing for 20 years. And they get upset when I say, oh, Johanna wasn't a real person, or Pearl's
Right.
head isn't down the well. But just because those stories aren't true does not mean that the place
Right.
isn't haunted.
Exactly.
Right.
Myths. There's plenty going on there without Pearl's head in the well. Bless her
Right.
heart.
I know.
Hundreds of stories from people that have had experiences there. So, but we'll definitely be back. That's a given.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's such a fun place. It's kind of like saying, well, I guess the Easter Bunny's haunting there, and leprechauns and all kinds. You got to play with it.
I heard that, but from more than one source. Oh. Mhm. All right. Well, Laura, how would someone get a hold of you if they were looking to bring gatekeepers, to their home, or just you personally talk to?
Well, we have a webpage. It's gatekeeperparanormal.com, and there's a link on there if you want to book a tour. You can book straight online. Also, if you can't remember Gatekeeper Paranormal, even if you went to Bobby Mackey, BobbyMackey.com, they have a link to our page on there, so it's really easy to find to book a tour with us.
Okay. Awesome. Jake, what you got, bud?
Well, I'm just looking at our schedule of events because it's at that time.
Yeah.
And next week we have, and I'll probably mispronounce her name, and I apologize for this, but we have Lara Valletta Vesta, who has the Wild Soul Runes. I believe that's a book with accompanying runes.
Yes, it
She's
is.
our guest for next week. And the week after that, we have Nick Redfern on to talk about his new book about the death of Marilyn Monroe and UFO conspiracies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how it's all tied together.
Mm-hmm. And I do have the book, and I'm reading it now. So I
have
will
the
be
book
an
and it's on
educated
my
host.
list. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yay. I can't promise that I think I'm like double booked on that too, so I'll probably have to be a little more, on the quiet side on it.
But that's okay. It's Nick. I mean,
True, yeah.
We'll talk about Little Green Men, Marilyn a little bit, and then we'll get straight into monsters.
Men in Black, yeah. Chupacabra. Although I can't pronounce it like he does, so.
Yeah, no, we'll get some Bigfoot questions in there, because this past season on Expedition Bigfoot, because I watch all the paranormal shows, they were out in your neck of the woods in Eastern Kentucky.
Oh.
Actually, closer to the Tennessee border, but they were in Kentucky.
Stomping grounds out there.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
Lordy.
I can get them on the show.
Ask him.
I will. I'll be like, Bryce, come on. We got to talk about some Sasquatch. I know someone that's if I say Squatch, he'll slap me. So I'll say Sasquatch and Bigfoot. Not Squatch.
But I've heard them called squatchers.
I know that. Apparently that's some controversy right there.
Maybe
Okay.
that was just their excuse to slap you, Jake.
That's a good point. Sometimes I need a good smack. Sometimes I do.
Oh no, never.
Hey, and, I think that one little trip to Kentucky, Western Kentucky, to an Indian burial ground and a Native American burial ground, and Sasquatch hunting is going to be a go in July. So,
They have mechanical bull rides over at Bobby Mackey's now too.
Oh,
That's nice. That would be fun.
maybe
so
for the young
guys.
folks, yeah.
Oh no, I would totally do it. And even without doing shots first, I'd do it.
Mhm.
So you know, it's that time of the night, but before we go, Tennessee Mike Tom Jones, if someone wants to get a hold of you, brother, how can they do that?
So my name changes on the Facebook. It might be Dave Mustang, not Mustang, Mustang. I'm a big Ford Mustang kind of guy. Just teasing. You can follow me on Creepshow Paranormal on Facebook. You can also find, I've been doing some videos with Bob Weiss on the Shaker Cigar Bar channel. And you can check out Creepshow Paranormal. That's kind of where I'm at.
What about your Booze and Brews? Isn't that the tour you'll be doing shortly?
Yes, I'll be doing a tour with my friends up in Baraboo, who was on the show recently. They run the Baraboo Inn, BC Farr, and his sister Shelly. They've invited us to co-host an event where we're going to be ghost hunting for some mobsters. And the Baraboo Inn's a very haunted place, and I think tickets are $20 or something.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, so it ain't a bad tour, and I've captured some pretty cool stuff there too. So hopefully we can get you guys to come up, check out the Baraboo Inn. It's a really great place here in Wisconsin.
Sounds good.
So then, I guess with that, folks, it's time to bid everyone an adieu. Thank you for tuning in to Mystic Moon Cafe. I have learned more about Bobby Mackey's than I ever thought I would, and for that, I'm very grateful. And plus, I've hawked all the pictures, so everyone will get credit for it.
I got the YouTube channel, Gatekeeper's YouTube channel, and listen to the EVPs and see all that fun stuff.
True. Okay, guys.
All right. Night, June. Thank you for joining us.
And she's off. Okay.
And she's off. Yeah. All right.
I guess that's a sign. So Mystic Moon, tuning out.
Night, everybody.
You guys have a great night.
Bye.
Boom. Let's see. There we go.